Let me talk to you for a minute. Came back in here after cooking, and let me show you this. This is going to show you that this stunt to burn down my house was practiced before I came home. How do I know that? The cord to my stove, pardon my supper that I cooked, the stove comes out to right about here. Right here is how far the stove comes out. They pulled it out. They pushed this, after they opened up the back of the stove, they pushed it, and then they took their hand and pushed right against that to make it arc. And here's how I know it. Here's a burn spot right in the floor, right where the stove would come out. My stove only comes out to here with it still. This is as far as it goes right here from the plug in the wall. There's a burn hole right in the floor right there. You can see the rest of it where they tried to brush it off. They burnt the floor. They had to test run it, make sure it's going to work first. Now, let me tell you this. I don't record all the insanity that happens in my life. For one thing, I'm just trying to make this hell as normal as I can for me and my family. Mason and I left at like 2 o'clock to go up to Collicksville to hunt. We made good time, got up there. It was misting, it wasn't pouring. You saw the live stream. Get up in the tree, stay up in there till about maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock maybe, 4:30 probably. And he didn't have a poncho. If he'd had a poncho, we'd probably stayed up longer. I just didn't want him to get wet and cold. He was already a little cold anyway because we were sweating so much from getting out in the woods. It's a pretty long haul where we went to. We came out of the woods, and this is like an 8-mile dirt road. Just switchbacks, cutbacks, you just got to take your time on the road. I've got an app, and this is a must-have for all hunters. It's called OnX, ONXX, OnX Maps, and what it is it's maps. It's 4 or 5 different types of maps: 3D, 2D, topical maps, weather maps, hunting maps, and it shows you where private property is, public property. It even gives you the people who own its names and addresses. So when we pulled out, we're sitting in the middle of the road. I'm going through it just trying to find another hunting spot. Because where we're at, it's all Pisgah National Forest, which is over 9,190 some acres in the Pisgah National Forest. And we were at Staircase Mountains where we were hunting. No, Apple Knob. No, Staircase Mountain. Yeah, Staircase Mountain. I'm sitting there just going through it for just maybe 10, 20 seconds. I'm sitting in the road. And I was in the middle of the road because there's never any traffic up and down the road. And I looked at the rearview mirror and I saw lights coming to me. And that's very rare that you ever pass anybody or anybody's ever on that road. And when I looked back in the rearview mirror, I said, it's a game warden. I saw a dark green 4-door Suburban, a big one, like the late 90s, not the newest ones. But it's exactly what a game warden or a Department of Natural Resources, the DNR, would have been driving. On the road I'm at, you just stay on that road, and it's a long haul. It's probably, once it goes from dirt to pavement before you turn, it's probably 20, 22 miles. Going down that road, and this Suburban, you could tell that he was following me because he stayed just far enough back. When I finally do make a turn, he turns behind me. As soon as he gets right behind me, and I don't mean directly behind me, but back enough where he knows where I'm at and I know where he's at, then a white Ford F-150 4-door gets in front of me. So it's a white Ford truck, me, and this, what I thought was a game warden. I keep driving. I get to my turn, take the next turn. Car's still on me. The F-150 in front of me is turning going the same place I am. We take the next turn, get down to a gas station. The F-150 pulls off, pulls through the gas station and parks. Because I'm looking in the rear mirror. I got my eyes on him. I already know something's up because I'm used to being followed. And then I see the green truck finally make its turn on the right-hand turn. He makes that turn, and then he goes into the gas station. I'm seeing this rearview mirror. He goes into the gas station right behind that Ford F-150, and then the F-150 jumps out after they meet. One goes, the Suburban pulls up behind the F-150, then the F-150 takes off, and he catches up with me. He rides with me all the way down. All the way down. From 90 to 321. The whole way. Keeping an eye on me. I noticed he finally veered off once I got to Hickory. Really, from Collinsville to Hickory. That's a long drive on 321. Long drive. It's like 58 minutes to get from my house to there. Finally gets off before I get into Hickory, and then big records in front of me, and this other F-250, big jacked up power diesel, power stroke, bargain, and he kept hot rodding, and I just thought he was just being silly. Hot rod, and finally, every place I go, this F-250 is in front of me again, a different one, and then a big wrecker's in front of him, and they're going exactly the way I go. I go different ways than anyone else. Anyone else would get on 321 and ride it all the way down until you turn up to come up the main street here. I don't do that. I take different routes to get off 320. I get off 320 as soon as I can because I don't like traffic. Because I know how bad I'm gang stalked. I know if they want to turn my truck off, I'm sitting in the middle of the road, burnt down. So every road that I'm going to take, they're in front of me taking as well. So I text my buddy. I think maybe he's the one driving that wrecker 2 trucks up. I'm like, hey, is that you in that truck? He's like, nope, wasn't me. Must be the other guys. This is weird. They go every single place I was going to go except to my house. He kept going straight right here as I turned into my driveway. Or turned on my road right here. I come home. Now that's strange. It's just people. People just going anywhere they want to go. That's what people do. Heart to heart. I understand that what I say sounds absolutely unbelievable. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what I did to be put on this list. I've met a lot of targeted individuals. And the ones that I know in my heart that are targeted, I couldn't find one reason in this world that they would be on a government watch list. I could not fathom why this would happen to them. Nor can I fathom it happening to me. The difference between me and everyone else is, I'll admit it. People don't like me. I have a filter, but I choose not to use it. I'm not going to cuss you. I'm not going to slander you. I try to keep my cool at all times, but I'm going to tell you, I had a normal life, and my life consisted of me working all the time and me raising 2 beautiful daughters. Now, my whole life I've had just incredibly bad luck. Every situation I got in, people are like, how did that even happen? How did that happen to you? How did that happen? How did this break? How did that break? And I've dealt with V2K on and off my entire life. There are a million different ways that I could come on YouTube and talk. I could be nice and gentle. I could fake a smile, and I could do this and I could do that, and I could be polite. And I don't even have to respond to the trolls, because most don't, but I do. I've always been one to stand up and fight for what I believe, and that has cost me dearly. When 9/11 happened, I came out hard, and this was I came to Facebook late, and as I've told you, I didn't know anything about YouTube. YouTube was a foreign entity to me. I never watched a YouTube video until I decided I'm going to open up a YouTube channel. It was literally that fast. I watched YouTube for like a couple of weeks. I was like, man, well, maybe I can get out there and get my voice out. Maybe someone else will listen and understand, because we're isolated. Because the worst thing you can do is just go out and say, yeah, I've got voices in my head. People are trying to chase me down, and I've got planes that fall on me. How are you doing today? I tried that once, and I gaslit myself. I gaslighted myself, where friends and family members were scared to death to be around me. I've been convicted of no crime. There is not a sentence from a judge on this planet that would have the harsh punishment that me and the people I love have been put under. It's bad enough that my life has been turned upside down and I've lost everything. It's bad enough that the people that I've loved and cherished, that several of them have died in my arms. That's bad enough that my children were stolen by this government. It's bad enough that all that stuff happened, but here I am, having done nothing to deserve what's happening to me, and you don't have to believe it. I don't care if you believe it. I know it's real, and the people that know me know it's real. No one deserves what's happening. But for me to come on here and help others and to spread the word and warn people about what's happening, to be attacked for trying to help. That's like me going out and giving food to the poor, and then someone standing right there saying, "Oh, we want to kill you. You're a fraud. You're a fraud because you give that homeless person food. You're a fake because you give a homeless person food, or you're crazy because you gave your food away." They murdered my fiance with this technology, Voice of God weapons. They murdered my best friend Joshua Haller with these weapons. They had me at the end of a rope with this technology. Thank God today I have the discernment to know when it's my thoughts and when it's them. They tried to burn my house down. And that's something to laugh about. And then one of the trolls comes on, "We're watching you, we're going to take you out." You think that's funny? The people that know this is happening, they're too scared. And that's the problem is, this world is full of cowards. Full of cowards. The people that try so hard to debunk this, it just doesn't work. What you're saying doesn't work because you're saying something that the people who are doing it are saying the opposite. The people involved are saying the opposite. In patent after patent declassified documents where they're admitting this is happening to not only the American people, but people worldwide. And then the trolls are like, "Oh, well, this one doctor said it's a mental illness, it's a disease that you don't know you have." There are many psychiatrists that know that this is real. Many. There are many doctors that know this is real. There are many members of law enforcement and different federal whistleblowers. Bill Binney, one of the lead analysts for the CIA, is a targeted individual, along with his wife, who was, I think, former MI6? Former secret agency in Britain? These are important people, and that's where you're nothing. You put the right targeted individual at the right time, and you can change the whole course of this country. If you haven't seen the news lately. This evil and corrupt government controls everything. Everything. You think Hurricane Ian is global warming? You think it's climate change? You think if, was it Charlie Crist, the former governor of Florida, do you think that he would be enduring this if he was governor right now in Florida? No. They're controlling the weather. They're controlling the masses with the technology that they test on me daily. And when targeted individuals are no longer needed, where they're used as Manchurian candidates, or were killed off with a fluke mass shooting that somebody would get wrapped up in, or they love to suicide people like me. They love to kill us, and then they just say, "Oh well, he was really disturbed, and he's at peace now. He's gone to be with Jesus. Jesus needed another angel, and it was just his time." If the people I know and loved didn't have a voice in them prompting them to kill themselves, they'd be here right now today for me to love. Just wake up one day out of the blue and have a voice in your head talking to you? It was literally that. It was that blunt. It was that in my face. It was like, boop, boop, boop. As I said, I've heard it my whole life. But right when my targeting went over, right when it happened, after they had me to hang myself, I'm driving down the road, and I hear, as if I have headphones on, from a jet. And I hear a pilot. And I hear I've never been in a plane, but I've seen enough TV to know about what an inside of a plane sounds like when it's going through the air. But I hear a pilot talking to someone in my head. That's the first, when that happened, I mean, I always thought it was odd that I had my voice in my head saying things just every once in a while. It wasn't every day just yammering on. It'd be certain situations I'd get in, and it was like if I want to get on my motorcycle and go for a long trip. My voice in my head, oh, what's that sound? Oh, is the tire going flat? Oh, your motor's knocking. Oh, something's loose. Every time I would go and try to enjoy myself, it would be this voice in my head just screaming about all these things that's going wrong, just to panic me, to traumatize me. But here I am riding down the road, and I'm hearing the inside of a cockpit of a jet, and the pilot's talking to somebody, and they're talking about me in my freaking head. And I'm like, what in the world? And then finally I started to test, as the Bible says, to test the spirits. And when I went and I thought about, I wish I could, the word was so random, and I made sure I picked a random word so it wouldn't just be, so it would prove to me that it wasn't my head doing it. But I picked some random word and thought about it. And as soon as I had thought about it, that thought came to my mind. Then my voice was in my head saying that word loud as it could be. It's like I said something like lasagna or something just out of the blue. I'm working underneath the hood of my F450 four-door dually that had a brand new motor in it that I just got through building that just would never run again. In the midst, after I lost my home, after they took my children, after they took my business, after they killed my pop, after everything, and my whole life was upside down, I'm underneath the hood of my truck trying to work on it, and they're just screaming at me so loud in my head, and I can't concentrate. And I said, screw it, I'm just going to think of a word. And as soon as I did, they're in my head, and then they say, ha ha, ha ha, it's us. You think this is your brain? You're not crazy. But we're going to kill you. I've talked to doctors. They know the truth, but they're too terrified to speak. They'll tell their clients in a client-doctor relationship, they'll tell their clients the truth about it. Because doctors know, with this overwhelming schizophrenia that's flooding the nation now, that people just aren't going crazy. It's supposed to look like that. Because just like with all this mass violence, the government has to stop in. So they create the violence. They create the turmoil in the country. They create the mental illness. And then they light the fire, and then they come and running on in to put it out. You got people like Turd Gorilla who was talking about locking up targeted individuals, killing us, threatening to kill. He said, oh, I didn't threaten anybody. Well, when you take a picture of somebody, put it on go to the gun range and hang their photograph up and start shooting it, that's a threat. It didn't have to come out of your mouth. That's a threat. And it wouldn't take a second for them to program a fool like that to go out and harm someone like me. They tried to burn my house down today. Last week I was going to go that day and pay to get Tina's car fixed. That day I was going to do that. And what I tell you, so they're going to hit one of my vehicles. And with a day of me saying that, boom, they hit her freaking car. And I had to take the money left in my pocket to go pay that place so I could build my houseboat and get away. And every dime of that money went to go fix her car. Just set me back again. But today, they tried to burn down my freaking house. They pulled my stove out to test this because here's the burn spot in the floor. See, it's not a stain. That's a burn spot in the floor, and that's as far back. That's as far back as my stove will go with that cord. Let me pull it out and I'll show you. It's as far back as the stove will go with it being plugged up. So what did they do? They went right over here to the fuse panel, right there. They went right to the fuse panel. One guy stands out there. They mashed the pan up to the back of my stove. Hold on, I'm getting ready to show you. Right there it is. Look, just far enough. Look, just far enough to burn. This right here is where it would burn, and that ash fell down on the ground. So they pry it out here and wedge it up against the back of that metal pan that goes on the back here, and they tested it first. That's exactly what they did. And then the stove slides right back. And as soon as they knew that it arced, they go ahead and shut it down. And they leave like it's no big deal. Somebody pray for me, please. Pray for my family. Pray for our safety so we can get out of here. If you can, any way that you can help us get out of here, please help me before they burn this place. If we lose this place, then it's over. My ability to escape is stopped. And that's the point. That's why everything in this yard is in danger. That's why my motorcycles get stolen and no one gets held accountable. That's why people are dying every day from a voice in their head telling them to kill themselves, and everybody just says, oh, well, you know, it's mental illness. America has already fallen. I'm not fighting. I'm not an activist for this country anymore. This country abandoned me. But for anybody to say, oh, it's the Chinese. No, it's not. For anybody to say, oh, it's organized crime. No, it's not. It may be crime and it may be organized, but it is not another entity besides the three-letter agencies in the United States of America, the greatest terror threat in the world today. They tried to burn down my freaking house, man. And it only happens when you turn the stove on. Because it wouldn't have made sense to happen while we're gone. What's the normal thing you do when you want to cook something in the oven, you want to bake something? You turn the stove on. I do. I turn the stove on and I walk out of the room and come back 3 to 5 minutes later to see if it's up to temperature. If I'd have done that, my house would be on fire and still smoldering, and I would have lost everything. All the food I've got stored up, everything I have would be gone. They've already wiped out almost all the meat in my freezer. They got to take all the rest of the food that I've got that I've stored up for my family. I just want to feed my family and be left alone. Is that not good enough for anyone? Trolls, is that not good enough that I work every day? Because whether you believe it or not, I work every day to feed my family just to be left alone. I lost 10 acres of beautiful land, a beautiful house. Everything in the world I've ever worked for was stolen from me, and now I'm down to nothing, and all I want to do is escape. And that's not good enough. I'm not even allowed to escape, that they got to burn my freaking house down. Please share this video. Please pray for me, because we need your help. If you can help in any way, please reach out to me. Please, because this is a more dire circumstance than ever before. Time is running out. I'm Stuart Pidlon, the most targeted citizen. God bless.